I think we are live now. Hello, everyone. Good evening from Tokyo. Good evening from Melbourne.
Yes.
And today I have a great pleasure to speak with Joanne again about new leadership. Actually,
Yes.
It's not new leadership, but the leadership in the new world. Something like that. I don't want to use like a new normal.
This is the 8th session and you're still not getting it right. This is the last one.
This is the last session. So we started just, I think, in the middle of the crisis. So
Yes.
it was an amazing journey. We started like when the world started to change quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 8 beautiful weeks with 1 week exception.
Yes.
So basically 9 beautiful weeks, including today.
Mm-hmm.
And now
That's
we are
right.
here. Yeah.
I know. It's been a journey. It certainly has been. And it's been such a pleasure to be with all of you. So welcome, everyone, no matter where you're from. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to Joanne. Thank you for joining us tonight.
In the group, so the people in the group also can watch our live. So yeah, I mean, where to start? I know the topic for today, but I want to also give some overview of what we did together and maybe share some personal experience and journey. Maybe you can
do tell. Yes, do tell. That would be lovely.
Yeah. So I think this can be shared right now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we started off in the very first session talking about generally a framework that I offered about how to really look at self-leadership. What does it mean to lead yourself in the new normal? So the 3 pieces to that, do you remember, Ed? Self-awareness, self-responsibility, and self-discipline, right? So those are the 3 pieces.
Yes, that was the day 1, I think. The
very first session. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And after that, all the topics are really to build on that, right? We take specific pieces. I think the first couple of sessions after that, we did what it means to have a mindset. What does it mean to be self-aware? How to become more self-aware? How to really pick mindsets, determine the mindset that's going to empower you from a growth perspective. So there was a lot of self-awareness. And then there's this responsibility. How do you take responsibility for your life? How do you take responsibility for the stories that are in your head, the inner dialogues? Hello, Anne. Hey, it's so good of you to join us. Anne is a dear friend from Sydney. So welcome, Anne. And then, of course, we went on to talk about a little bit about what you could actually, what self-leadership looks like, outside of working on yourself. What does it look like in the real world where people can actually see you being a leader, you taking leadership for your own life? And last week, I believe, we talked about how you could declutter, literally declutter, and allow yourself to have a space where you are free to create the life that you want. So what did you get out of all of that, Ed?
Okay. I mean, honestly, my life changed quite a lot in the last 9 weeks. Yeah.
Not because of what you heard from me, but your life just has been changing anyway.
Yeah, it's changed. I mean, because it was like external and internal journey, I would say both affect. And that's usually happen when we have those kind of big shifts on all different levels, on the spiritual level, on mindset level, on economical level, on the technology level, on freedom level, whatever you want to call it. It's completely, one part of me is very excited because I know during this big shift, it's a great opportunity to restart, to maybe get a better clarity on what do you do and how do you want to do and with who you want to do. And I think that's something which is now crystal clear, because once when you have a plan for the year and then everything you plan is just gone, then you really have to do like restructure. So that was experience. I would say that was experience for me, and I think for all of us, and I'm very proud on you and proud of me, because we somehow succeed to manage that change in our personal life, in our business life, at the same time inspire others to understand what the self-leadership in this new world means for them, which is thanks to you. I'm very, very grateful. So every Tuesday after session with you, I always have like a processing of all information you share with us. And that's the big value, I think. In the time when you can be selfish and just take care about yourself,
Sure.
you show up and you share and inspire others. That's, I think, leadership. That's the leadership. Although you talk about self-leadership, but self-leadership is also to inspire others. I believe so, and you made it, and I'm so proud of you. Honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so sweet of you. That's lovely of you to say that. And you're absolutely right. It's like when we show up in life, when we give ourselves permission. Sorry, that was the word I'm reaching for. When you give yourself permission to show up in life, no matter what life throws at you, that's leadership in action. It's almost like, no matter how good your day is, when times are good, it's easy to just show up and be your smiling self, isn't it? It takes very little. But when your day is not smooth, or you run into hardship, or you're dealing with lots of concerns in your life, and then you have to show up and be the person that you are for everybody in your life. Just imagine a mom who's really tired but has to be there for the family, for the children. Imagine a teacher in a time like this, right? Where they are the ones who have to take care of a group of children, but they themselves have their families to worry about, and their lives to worry about, but they show up every day to serve the students in the school. So this is one example. And of course, the classic case would be the medical professionals, right? They show up. So that's the kind of leadership I'm talking about. But for that leadership to show up in your community, in the people, in your life, you would have to make certain decisions that you are going to show up. And that is the leap of self-leadership that shows up out here in the world.
Actually, you just remind me of something which when you was talking about this, like showing up during the difficult times, that's so true. Because can you imagine like some athletes who are preparing themselves for the Olympic Games, and then they have like 4 years or 8 years, in this case maybe 9 years, because the change
training,
and then literally nobody cares during the time when they have a training every single day, and they might have an injury, they might have a coronavirus, they might have so many things can be challenged, right? And then once when the Olympic is happening, and then when they achieve something, especially something remarkable, if they, let's say, win the Olympic medal, then suddenly all people celebrate with them, and everybody wants to be nearby them. And that's exactly how it works. Even during this crisis, like when it's difficult, it's so easy to not pay attention on anything, just on yourself. But then life forces you have to take care about your children, you have to establish the new relationship with your partner, then you have to establish the new relationship with yourself, and then you have to think even on your team, and finally on your community. And I think that's I don't know, is that skills or that's something we can learn, or I don't know, we born with it?
Absolutely. Hello, Nina. Sorry, I read the whole name and I try to pronounce it in 2 syllables. The first and the last. Nira. No, it's Nina. Hi, Nina. Love to you too. Thank you for joining us. Just talk about that. And sportsmen, sportswomen, sportspeople, right? I think the field of sports is so symbolic of what human spirit is about. At the end of the day, we can call it whatever we want, but leadership really is a matter of us making choices to empower ourselves or other people in any moment in time. When you practice for as long as you have to qualify for the Olympics and national team and all of that, that's you showing up every day. And I just heard a video from a good friend of mine. And he trained 6 months. Every day he woke up at 4:30 to train for the run. He was going to take part in a marathon, right? So for 6 months before the marathon, every day he woke up at 4:30.
Yeah.
And he said that in the beginning, it was so difficult for him. He wanted to give up so many times, but he kept waking up and do it, and kept waking up and do it, and kept waking up and do it. That's leadership. So do not belittle the fact that every day you wake up and get out of bed. Seriously, do not belittle the fact that every day we wake up and we choose to get out of bed. We don't know. If you think about this, the reality is, much as we want to plan our day and we kind of have an idea of what we will end up doing, we really do not know what our day is going to be. We don't. But every day we wake up and we get out of bed and we take on the world. That in itself is leadership.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly like what you perform. Like, we are all busy, and you have your son, and the school was not working. They had online teaching, so you invested your extra time to keep everything in a row, like, because that's critical. But at the same time, you find every Tuesday time to be here to prepare your presentation. And I think that's the thing. Like, even if you don't have a time, if maybe you don't see the real reason to do on let's say some kind of daily context base, but if you have that vision that you want to share something, that you want to achieve something, then during this crisis you realize this is just some temporary. This is just something which will take maybe 1, maybe 2 years. But who cares? Actually, I don't even care how long it's gonna take. At the beginning, maybe you take care about 2-3 weeks, but then you realize this is gonna take longer.
Yeah.
And then you just stop worrying. And then what you can do, and then you can do a lot. You can do something with your body, something with your mindset, something with your business, something with your relationship, something like there's so many things you can do, improve yourself and prepare yourself for that new age. And then you actually don't worry about the new age, because you are the new age.
Yeah.
I think the point which I learned from you is, I want to be that new age. It's not that somebody else will tell me, okay, this is the new age, and then
this is your new normal. You define your own new normal. You are the new normal. Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful.
I think that's my main point. Hi, Amy. Hi, Nina. It's
great.
Hi,
Amy.
Yeah. There's so much.
There is so much to create. Absolutely. See,
go for it.
Yeah, so just to talk about the areas of our life, right? So, even as circumstances changes, if we talk about leadership, right? We talk about new normal as if it's one thing. But for you, it's one thing. For me, it's another thing. For Amy, for Mary, for Nina, for Anne, everybody has a different experience of what new normal is going to look like, right? But if you really look at it, what are we really talking about when we talk about our life? Our life in a new normal. So for me, today, I didn't prepare any PowerPoint. I just thought that for the last session, I'm going to try and
I tried to convince you like for many times, but today, finally, you don't have it.
So I thought I'm going to talk this through.
My fault.
No, it's not your fault. None at all. I take on the challenge, right? To step outside of my comfort zone. No PowerPoint. So here I am. So right, this is everything that I'm sharing with you tonight. Hopefully, it's a culmination of everything that I've been sharing with you guys, right? And it really is, if you look at our life structure within any sense of normal, new normal, old normal, but our life structure. What does it mean to have a sustainable life structure? So this is something that I have been dealing with the last couple of months. That is the one conversation that came out as a result of COVID. Because COVID literally, it created havoc in most people's lives. It literally feels like overnight your life changed. And what's worse, you don't know what your new life actually is going to look like. Because every day something happens, someone says something, someone does something, and then it changes, and then it changes and changes. And, yes, you can look at it as it's filled with uncertainties, but actually there is a way to look at our life. For me, I realize that there is a way to look at our life and be able to wrap our head around what is the life that we want. For me, it's very, very important that the life that I have is nurturing. So the structures that we are going to keep in our life is what is going to give us life, right? So life it's not like you just have it. You create life. But how do we begin to create the life that we want? If we really look at it. So I read a beautiful book called Life Visioning by Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. Okay. He's a lovely, really fantastic spiritual teacher. And I'm going to borrow this particular life structure that he created, which for me, I've been using as a guide as to how I look at the different areas of my life, and then how I begin to look at each piece and start to think what is good for me or what's empowering and what's not, right? So no PowerPoints. I'm just going to tell you what these eight pieces of life is. So 8 life structure. The first one is yourself, yourself, right? I don't mean that as like you as a person. I literally mean you, yourself, your inner self. Mm-hmm. Number 2, your belief system. So mindsets, yeah, your belief system. Number 3, relationships in your life. Number 4, health. Number 5, finances. Number 6, livelihood, what you do for living. Number 7, your spirituality. Number 8, your community. So if everyone begin to look at their life from these 8 areas, you could spend time on any particular area that you want. But maybe the first thing you can do, I suggest, is for just for yourself, right? For these 8 areas, for yourself, your belief, relationships, your health, finances, livelihood, spirituality, and community, you rank yourself how satisfied you are with each one. Let's say from a scale of 1 to 10. Are you happy with your sense of self? Are you happy with your sense of inner awareness? You know, where you are? Do you feel grounded? Do you feel strong? You know, how do you feel about you as you? Do you love you? Are you just like so in love with yourself? You know, this is so happy to be you every day, right? That's yourself. Rate yourself from 1 to 10. 10 being the most satisfied, and 1 obviously being an area where this is probably an area you want to look at and work on. Your mindset, is it empowering you? Or do you often have to, have an internal dialogue with yourself where you keep fighting yourself? Or is it really every day you're able to find ways to create new energies in your life that move you along in the direction that you want? Relationships, how are the quality of relationships in your life? People who are important to you, your spouses, your family, your children, your work colleagues, your friends, all of that. How would you rate relationships in your life, your health, your finances, livelihood? So if you begin to rate them and get present to where you are in your life, you begin to see that, hey, maybe there are areas that that I need to give more attention to as a result of just this simple review of the different life structures in your life. And for me, I have identified quite a few, obviously now, because I am in between jobs and I'm building my own consulting practice. Finances is one area I'm looking at that I need to work on. Livelihood, obviously. But I'm quite happy with health. I'm quite happy with self. I'm pretty happy with beliefs. I need to work on relationships, I think. Spirituality, definitely something that I can work on. And community. This is every Tuesday for me is my way of giving back in some way, right?
Question.
Yes. Question. Yes, You're allowed to speak.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say we know like 8 different parts of our life, and they are all important, and we know we cannot achieve that we have 10 in all of them at the same time, because if we say that, we are not honest, obviously.
Thank you.
Yeah. So however, and whoever tell you that they have 8 and everything 10, he or she is a liar, in my opinion. However, if they said 1, is also a liar. But because of this, I would say, frequency, like I believe that you have to understand what part of area it's for you, something you want to improve. But at the same time, you can, if you are honest with yourself, if you are really a leader, if you see, I really have a good health now, and I really have a good relationship now, but my finance is stuck because of, I don't know, crisis, or then, in my opinion, it's not best option to leave your health and leave your relationship and focus on the finance. What is your thought? Like, I believe, like, when you feel the finance is good, then keep doing finance, and maybe, because that's how I see. And I think, like, I realized this year for me is building the community. Very, very critical. And actually, one of a friend of mine, she helped me how to find, like, what part of my 8 criteria I have to focus. And I realized when I focus on something which is already works for me, it's so much better than if I focus on something which is not working well. Then I spend so much energy and I'm tired. Like, so what is your thought about, like, it's better to, this I have to improve, and then you focus on it and you forget everything else, or you just find naturally what might be the focus right now, because that is how it goes, because of the different frequency you maybe are not aware of.
What a great question. You are so good. I just love having these conversations with you, right? So the way I look at it, and this may not be it doesn't work for everyone, but the way I look at it is, this is actually something that I have been getting coaching on myself, and this is what I'm getting, right? So, those moments when you feel like you're stuck, you're not going anywhere, or worse, you feel like you're regressing. It's like, why am I here? You don't want to be here, and you want to get out of it. So the human tendency when something doesn't go right, or something feels uncomfortable, is to fix it. Fix it now. I want to get rid of this feeling that I have to get out of this uncomfortable situation, right? But the more you try and fix something, the more you are developing more of that energy. And this is where maybe a little bit of spirituality come in. I am a big believer of energy, a big believer of vibration. And I will be the first to say that for the past 6 months or so in my life, Yeah.
No, can I just say something? It's not only spiritual, it's a science behind official.
Yeah, of course, there's science behind too.
It's just to be very clear, energy and frequency is not just spiritual world, it's a science.
Well, there's quantum physics behind it, obviously, right? We're talking about quantum physics, but I'm trying to keep it really simple here. Every one of us, it's like talking about energy and vibration. This is what people feel when you walk into a room. Have you ever walked into a room and then you can hear the buzz in the room? We say, we can hear the buzz in the room. That buzz is not bees, right? We are not bees. That buzz is the frequency of energy, the collective energy in the room. So every one of us carry our own energy. And at any point in time, you could actually stop and look, what energy am I vibrating at? All energy is vibration. And you can feel it, the vibration, right? So for me, for the past 6 months, in fact, for the past maybe 18 months of my life, I have been vibrating at a fairly lower frequency, meaning I'm working through all the issues in my life, feeling stuck, feeling, more down energy than up energy, right? So one of the things that I'm getting coaching on, and I'm really beginning to see this for myself, is that instead of focusing on all the negative things and putting all my energy into trying to fix them, if I were to focus more on my vibration instead. Does that make sense? So the reality is this, you're absolutely right. In all the 8 areas, it's not very likely. There will be a very, very small percentage of people who say, I'm happy with all. I'm satisfied with all.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in? When
Yeah.
everything is like 10, that means you are dead.
Because you have no dissatisfaction. You have no right to object. Everything is perfect already, the way it is.
You're dead. That's how I see it. Like, if there's nothing to fix, okay, ciao,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So anyway, coming back to the 8 life structures, it's impossible for us to be perfect in every area. So there are some areas that are not so good, and there are some areas that are good. Now, here's the kicker, right? Even though there are some areas that are good and some areas that are not as good, or areas that you can work on, not where you want it to be, okay? These areas are going to affect your frequency and your vibration. They will. Similarly, the areas that are good is going to spill over to the areas that need work. So the process is, again, dynamic. What you end up with is a kind of like a net frequency. So like if you talk to me about money right now, it's going to be low frequency. If you talk to me about, spirituality or self right now, quite high. Like right now they're having this conversation.
But that's exactly what I share. Like you have to find where is your high frequency and focus on it.
So if you build on the frequency as opposed to looking at the individual problem and then get engrossed in it and knock your head around, knock your head against the wall all the time, just trying to find a solution, you're going to get stuck in the frequency of the problem that you are at. But if you focus, instead of the thing, you focus on your frequency. So like the last couple of days, I was not feeling the best. All right, I was dealing with some things I wasn't feeling the best. So instead of trying to fix the thing, what I did was I went away and did something that made me happy. That's it. I went away and I did something that made me happy. I took my attention off the problem that was giving me all my right. I just left it aside, put it aside. I'm not ignoring it. I know it's there, and I'm not naive to think that by ignoring it, it will go away. But what I was doing is that I was paying attention to how I feel and my frequency. Because when I am vibrating at a higher level, when I am feeling good about myself, and then I come back to the question or the problem that I'm dealing with, I feel stronger to deal with it. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Can you imagine, just imagine that this, what you're dealing right now, is a difficult part. Can you just imagine on 1 second that actually that's the best gift which you can imagine that you have for this year? But the answer why that's a gift you will not get now. You will know the answer once when you will know why so the real question here is, why should I have this experience? Why this experience? How this experience will serve me in the situation when I will know, okay, I have this experience already. Just like why you study foreign language, and then you don't know why you study foreign language, and then bam, you are in the front of the person who is speaking that language, and then you know the answer. No, seriously.
Yes, yeah, that's right. That's
how I see it. Every experience is a great experience, but you don't think that you can use it straightforward. That's a very childhood way of thinking. Mom, give me a chocolate. Here's a chocolate. Maybe if you so take this experience as a gift, and everything will change.
Yes, exactly. So
it's hard. I know it's hard, but
yes,
try.
But it's like Anne said. So you were being self-aware in that moment. Yes, I was, and that's where self-awareness is such an important key to your self-leadership, to our leadership in this world. You see, I was able to see for myself that I was really rubbing my nose in the wrong area of my life, right? That problem was draining energy from me. It's not giving me life. And for me, the way I look at my life is now I look at the different areas and I look at the things that are at my disposal, and I ask myself, is this giving me life or is this draining me? Why are you smiling the way you're smiling? You're so happy.
I'm smiling because right, Ed is such as like obedient student with his hand up, and I remember where that comes from. Amy, let me share where this coming from. On the MBA, like you have a grade based on your report and based on your research, blah 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 blah. But then you also have a report. Your grade is basically evaluated based on how many times you put your hand in the
Hey, I'm not grading you.
And then based on that, you get some benefits. So in my unconscious mind, I think if I raise my hand, I will get some benefit in return. That's why.
Oh my God.
But Amy, thank
Yes.
you, thank you. We are so
Yeah,
happy to make you happy. Yeah.
and Anne said such politeness. You're a very polite boy. Amy doesn't ever raise her hand. She just talks when she wants to. Listen to me. All right. So talking about life giving, right? So this kind of energy, having fun, high vibration energy. So the high vibration energy, fun. Fun is definitely right up there. Love, right? This is right up there. Victimhood, blame, all of these are right at the bottom. It keeps you anchored at the bottom. So you really want to look at what is the energy that you are keeping yourself in. And that is something that without awareness, you won't be able to tell. You're gonna know, what is she talking about? What do you mean energy? What, I'm like that, it's like I am who I am. But if you really develop a sensitivity to your own frequency, to your own energy level, you can tell, are you high level? Are you low? That's the easiest way, high or low. You may not be able to tell me what energy you're vibrating at. There is actually a chart of energy that you can literally point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now in the world, we are all, the collective energy that we are all vibrating at is right at the bottom, called fear. There's a lot of fear. We are anchored there because collectively this is where the world is. The people who are out there demonstrating, protesting and all of that, a lot of anger, a lot of angst, that's another low level, low vibration, right? So we really need more people to step up as leaders, right, in our life, to do the hard things, but with courage, with love. So that's where we as individuals, believe it or not, we can make a difference just by being a leader of our own lives. We can, coming from loving ourselves.
I have a comment for this, what you just shared. And actually, I'm not talking about great news, but I'm talking about something which is, again, science behind.
Yeah.
Again, there is no way that if you have this amount of fear, that you don't have equivalent amount of love. There is no way. So for everyone who have fear of fear, don't worry, because the more the world is going in that kind of fear and low frequency, at the same time, high frequency is blooming. The real question here is which frequency you want to belong to. And that's
Absolutely.
very, very important question.
Very, very good. Which frequency do you choose to be in? Again, it's a matter of choice. We choose. We take choice to be such a, like, how should I put it? We don't realize. I think a lot of people don't realize how powerful we are just because we have the power of choice. When you realize that we can choose to show up every single day. You just got graded. You got an A+. Well done. You passed with flying colors. Flying colors. Oh my God, I can't speak English today. So we have the power of choice. In any moment, we can choose to be here. We can choose to be here, right? There's no right or wrong place to be, but you've got a choice. If you realize you've got a choice, then with every step that you take, you're moving in your own power, isn't it? So there is something about having a sustainable life structure. You want to be able, accept the fact that you're never going to be perfect 10 for all, not even high for all. You're most likely going to have areas that work and areas that don't work. Hopefully there are more areas that work than areas that need help. Okay. But whatever structure they collectively give you, if you can be aware of where you are in each area, you can begin to calibrate where you want to be, right? So you start asking yourself, all right, so for me, for example, right now I'm rebuilding my livelihood, rebuilding my finances, rebuilding my relationships in life. So I do all of that. I then look at each of them and I go, what is the ideal situation? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to be vibrating, right? So even though I may be divorced right now, doesn't mean I can't be loving. Doesn't mean I can't be loving. Doesn't mean that I got to project bitterness into the world. You know, I can still be a very loving person even though I've gone through a divorce, right? So relationship, yeah, as far as spousal relationship, partnership is concerned, life partnership, you know, I need to work on that. But that doesn't mean I cannot choose to be a loving human being for this world, isn't it? So that's one way to look at it. So another way to look at it is the foundation of your life. What makes you sustainable? So there are a lot of what we call what is
Can I also make a comment, please? I would like.
No, you cannot. A+ student.
So,
yes, go ahead, please.
okay, let's talk about relationship, okay? And then external factor, it might be you are divorced right now. That's a fact. And then you can watch from that perspective that, you know, what you can do here. And then you have two sources you can use. External sources, and maybe push yourself to find any kind of relationship, or go to the inner world and find that relationship you are looking for. And that will be reflection when you find that relationship in your inner world, that will be exactly in your external world too. And that is how it is. Because when we lose something in our external world, then we feel empty in our inner world. But you can do the opposite way.
Yes.
Just food for your thinking. Don't worry.
The one thing that comes to mind, thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yes, Joe. Thank you, Joe, for being with us tonight. It is our external world, okay? It's a reflection of our inner world. It is. It truly, truly is. And there is a lot of times people who see themselves as victims of the external environment, whatever is happening out here, they see that everything is being imposed on them. They're victims of that. When you're a victim, you will have very little power over your own life. Because guess what? It's you giving your power away, right? When you're blaming your boss, you're blaming your wife, you're blaming your husband, your children, you're blaming COVID. Everybody else is responsible for your lack of happiness.
Yeah.
All right. So you have no power there. Absolutely powerless, right?
That's exactly how it is, right?
that is, for a lot of people, that's what exactly it is. That's how they experience to be their reality. Yes, I didn't want COVID. You know, so and so did something, sold a bat somewhere and did something, right? And then suddenly this virus is killing lots of people, and I have to stay at home and not see my friends and not go to work or whatever it is. So you become a victim. But look, this is really an opportunity for me. It's kind of like, if you turn it around, like you said, this is an opportunity for you to start looking, what is the life that you want, right? I actually thank this virus for forcing me to slow down to the pace where I am, because it allowed me to look at some very fundamental things. For example, and this is the foundation I'm talking about. Most people talk about life and then they talk about the big things. But what I really am getting through COVID, this time when I slow down and I look at my life, I look at all the areas that's working, all the areas that's not working, and then I kind of get the idea, okay, I need to do certain things. There's one very important thing that I have learned, and I hope you guys, if you want, you could take this down. I'm going to speak really, really slowly, right? You cannot heal yourself in the environment that made you sick. You cannot heal yourself in the environment that made you sick. So if that is the environment if I am in this environment and I have got certain areas of my life that doesn't work, I can't keep trying to make these areas better if I'm not willing to make any more changes in the rest of my environment. Okay. And for me, I look at the foundation, and this is something that I really am grateful to my coach. You know, a huge shout out to James Yates. You've been beautiful. He's the co-founder of Reignite. He's got a wonderful program. And I'm doing that program right now. And I'm looking at foundational stuff. Things like how are you taking care of your body? What food are you eating? Are you involved in some kind of movement every single day of your life? Your breath work. This is like one of the bigger things that are coming out of this, that people realize that actually your breath, how you breathe, things that a simple act that we take for granted, the way you breathe impacts the quality of your health. Rest. How much rest, the quality of your rest. It's not just sleeping. It is about the quality of rest. What time are you sleeping? Look, if you're somebody who's a night owl like me, I go to bed past midnight and I wake up like 9 o'clock or something like that, right? Sleep at 2, wake up at 9. I recently learned that between 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., right? 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., that's the best time your kidneys go to work. That is the best time your kidneys is doing all the repairing and detoxing and flushing out of your system. I don't know if you realize this when you wake up.
A+ student.
A+ student. Wait, let me finish what I want to say first. I don't know if you realize that when you wake up in the morning, one of the first things that you do is, what's the one of the first thing you do? You go to the toilet.
Depends, but what I want to say, there is a science. There is a science, like you find natural, and that's a beautiful thing about this. All answers you can imagine are here all the time, but the right question is, are you going to find that answer in where do you going to find? What is the source information looking for? So basically, from 11 p.m. until 3 a.m. it's the time when we have to rest. I know some people working a different kind of job. That's all, but this is the science. Like, it's not something which I decided to. It's just the time that we have that cycle.
Yes.
And you found
our circadian rhythm, as we call it. Yeah. So that's, carry on. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I just want to make a comment when you said from 11 that you find by yourself, and that's true. So in my case, if I want to do something, it took me like 2 or 3 more times when I'm doing from 11 p.m. Like something which I can do in the early morning in 15 minutes, it took me like 1 hour. So that's I said, oh, maybe it's better to go to sleep now and then wake up. And actually, I buy the 45 minutes. I have 45 minutes more.
Yeah. So when we pay attention to our body and we listen to our body, there is a natural rhythm that our body goes through. Circadian rhythm. Did you just see what Anne wrote? I think Anne is answering my question. What do you do when you wake up? Right? Yes, we pee and we poo too. As my son would say, mommy, pee and poo. Okay, and pee and poo and fart as well. That's what he would tell.
I haven't expected this is like the last session of the leadership, and what we found, it's so simple things. What you have to do first thing in the morning.
Oh God. So listen to your body, right? So take a look at your body and ask yourself, do I have good habits in place that supports my body? Okay. For me, I never really look at it that way, but I'm going to talk about morning and bedtime routines in a bit. That's what I'm learning out of my own journey as well. Foundation is so important. Taking care of my body is so important. Now, what do you eat? So there's a big movement now about eating plant-based foods, right? So I'm not an expert in that area. There are lots of people who are offering fantastic advice in that area, but please pay attention to what you eat, right? And so one of the things, just basic things, that if you're cooking more than you eat out, that already is a good thing. I never used to like to eat vegetables, and it's a funny story behind it, but I don't think I have time to tell tonight, but I don't used to eat that. But the moment I started to realize the importance of really having plant-based meals, not entirely, but if I could just incorporate more vegetables and more fruit, I'm already winning. So I started doing that, and I already start to see a difference. Movement. So every day, people talk about exercising 20-30 minutes twice a week. Honestly, not enough. When I say movement, I'm not even talking about going for that long run, run for 20 kilometers or have a 1-hour yoga session. No need. It really is about you putting yourself in a physical environment. And for example, is a Tai Chi teacher. she would tell you, I mean, Tai Chi, do you know Tai Chi is so gentle, and that movement is what is going to stimulate your body. It's beautiful, right? So movement, it could just be as simple as stretching every day. But if you wake up every day and you move your body, you're literally helping your body to wake up. All the organs in your body.
I have to say again something about the vegetables and about the exercise. Sorry. So, but like when you think about the vegetables, when you think of, and when you look about the scope of the vegetables, you can find that some vegetables actually looks like your organs.
Right.
Like, and there is a science behind the game. You're smiling. I don't know what you're thinking, but
because I thought of a specific vegetable.
That's your imagination. But like nature creates everything for us, okay? So, and then if you feel that you have particular problem with some of your organ, you can find the vegetables which looks like that organ particularly, and you can feel better. Plus, if you look in the human body, man or woman, whatsoever, our body is designed for moving. It's designed for moving. So everybody who tell you that 20 minutes per week is enough or twice a week is a liar. Again, sorry. Like
they're just trying to get you to buy whatever they're selling.
Why you have this body to sit down in front of the computer for the like 60 hours per week or 100 hours per week, and then when you have some time you can go out? No. That's not true. We are not designed like that. If we are designed to be like a robot, that's a different story. Then it's a different, but our body is designed for moving.
For movement, absolutely. So every day move a little bit, right? Yeah. Okay. Even
Sorry,
if you're having...
that's just I want to jump in your...
It's okay. You're an A+ student in our last session. I forgive you. But I also want to apologize that I was laughing just now because Amy says Joe has a dirty mind. I do. I don't know what Amy thought I thought. But if I tell you the plant that I thought after you said that nature has plants that look like our body organs, one particular plant just popped into my head and it was very funny. No, Amy, I'm sure it's not just you. All right, I'm going to give you a...
You see how I suffered before when we had the presentation. This is so much more fun. Sorry.
Oh my God. You're saying that you suffered for 7 sessions? I'm sorry to
with presentation because I was, we didn't see each other. So I was just like quiet and polite.
Yeah, you're not allowed to speak. Poor Ed. Yeah. Okay. All right. So much. Amy, after this, I'll call you and then we can say what fruit we were thinking about. No, what plant we were thinking about.
Totally.
All right. So breath work. All right. Breath work, jokes aside, breath. Because of the way we are living our lives these days, everything is so fast. Even our breath is so quick. I've said this a few times. We're taking very shallow breath. That's correct. Yeah. So we really need to train ourselves to actually breathe deeper. One of the things I've noticed, the simple fact that you are breathing deeper, when you're taking deeper breath, you literally slow down. Literally. And it's very simple, right? When you're nervous, you notice that your heart rate beats faster, your breath are shallower, quicker, right? You take quicker breath. But when you are more calm and settled and really comfortable, you start to take deep breath, you actually feel like your whole body just slows itself down. It really is a beautiful place to be. So breath is also very important foundation. So pay attention to your breath. And then rest, cannot overemphasize. There's so much science behind how important it is to rest well. So resting well means, to me, in my life, I've taken on a few things. One is a bedtime pre-sleep routine, right? Now, it doesn't have to be very fancy. I'm doing 3 very simple things. One, I put my phone and all devices away, not even TV, right? 2 hours before sleep. Now, tonight I'm breaking that rule because after I finish this, I'm going to bed. So I missed the 2 hours, right? But like last night, my phone was off by 8. I literally put it aside. I close the computer. I don't do anything. And that's one thing. 2 hours before sleep, put away all the devices.
Disconnect, yeah.
Yeah, disconnect. because then you are giving your body a chance to rest, right? Second, do whatever it takes to calm your body down, to help it to unwind. After a very, very long day of constant activity, brain activity, physical activity, you want to help your body to unwind, to get it into the best stage of rest. So what I do, I put on essential oils. I diffuse that in my bedroom, right? 2 hours before sleep, so that it starts to get into my system. I play very soft music, soothing music. Depending on how tired I am, I meditate. Because sometimes if I'm overly tired, I meditate and I fall asleep. Right? But these days, I'm also adding one thing. I give myself 30 minutes to read. So instead of just reading as and when I can find time, I now have a dedicated time when I read. Now, don't read anything heavy. Don't read anything scary. No horror books, right? Try and read something that actually is light and is nurturing for your body. So that's like a bedtime routine. So what's your bedtime routine? So make sure that you actually have one of the things that can help you to have a sustainable life structure. And in this case, having a good bedtime routine will impact, guess what? Of course, your health, but also yourself, your sense of self. And then when you go rest, you really wake up with a stronger sense of mind, right? And then the last one is grounding. So grounding to me is like, what do you do to make sure that your spirit is intact? So in a time like this, when we are constantly bombarded by changes, comments, especially if you're very active on social media, you may notice that there's a lot of opposing voices, conflicting voices. It becomes very noisy. So for me, I have made a deliberate decision to pull back from social media because I want to simplify my life, simplify my world, and so that it's not so noisy. So find ways that work for you to ground yourself. Right? When you feel like you're being stretched in many, many, many different directions, find a way that bring you back to you. That's really, really important. And I find that actually a good, solid bedtime routine really, really helps. What also helps with a good bedtime routine that really slows your system down, that really calms your nervous system down, so that when your paranervous system kick in, you are all ready to repair and to rejuvenate. So as you rest through the 6, 7, 8 hours that you sleep, preferably 8 hours, right? And then when you wake up, if you have a good morning routine, that will sustain the beautiful energy that has built overnight. And so in the morning, just remember 3 letters, MBI, right? Do anything that falls under these 3 categories. M for movement. Do anything. You could be, take a walk in the garden if you have one. If you have a backyard, walk around, 20 times or something. I don't know, or stretch. Do whatever it works. Move your body. B is actually breath work. So there are simple breath work that you can do. I don't have time to go through them tonight, but it's easy to find breath work on YouTube that allow you to just, simple things like breathe in with the eye and then breathe out the other nostril. Breathe in, breathe out the other nostril. So you could do that 10 times, but make sure you take time for each breath. So it feels like in, out, right? Close one, open the other. Just keep switching your fingers like that, right? So you could do that breath work or breath meditation, any form of meditation. Yes, the little one has come in.
Yes, we have a guest. Special guest.
And I am BI. So I stands for intentions. Thank you, darling. It's come to return. Oh, half naked boy ran out of the room. Okay. I stands for intention. So set the intention for the day. Set the intention for the day. For me, my intention this morning when I woke up after I did some yoga. I did 20 minutes of yoga, and then I did my breath work and meditation. I combined the two. I have a breath meditation that I do. And my intention was very simply, I declare to myself, my intention today is to be happy. So everything I do, I'm mindful that my intention today is to be happy. So if something is stressing me out, something is not giving me that sense of bliss, I walk away from it, right? So for me, I have found that to be really, really powerful. The two are connected. They're not separate. So ideally, if you have a good, simple bedtime routine, pre-bedtime, it allows your body to go into a good repairing and rejuvenation cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And then that sustain that beautiful energy with also a nurturing morning routine. Very simple. Keep it really simple. It doesn't have to be, very complicated and all of that stuff. Do what works for you. Morning, stick to MBI. Bedtime, pick 3 activities, or even just do whatever you need to slow your system down. And I think if you're able to do at least, say, for example, unplug from all the devices for at least an hour, preferably 2 hours before sleep, you are already in the winning zone. So for me, I am making adjustments to my life that way. They're very simple. They're very foundational. And almost like, what? You mean that's going to change your life? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Because every day you are harnessing different energy. When you go to bed, are you going to bed? Okay, I'm finishing soon. Just give me a second, okay? Right. So, yeah, you harness the beautiful energy and you are literally calibrating your vibration. You go to bed. Some people, for example, they include a gratitude practice before they go to bed to think about what they're grateful for. Beautiful way to do it as well, right? Because those thoughts, you can carry them into your brain. Even when you're sleeping, trust me, they are working in your brain, right? There's a lot of science that will show you that. So that little routine there is foundational, but it's going to change your life if you can do it.
Thank you so much. So for all of you guys, I really appreciate to invest your time in the last 9 weeks, and for all your positive comments, for all your participation. We are very grateful.
Yes.
Today is the last session of this series. So our intention was to give you some insights how you can deal with this crisis, and the best and easiest way to deal with this crisis is to focus on something which you can control, and that's you. And I think that today with this daily routine and the morning routine and also like evening routine, that's fundamental things. If you can imagine, like if you are if you don't know where you want to go, then probably you can go everywhere, right? And you might not be happy with the destination, but to be good leader of your life, it's so easy to focus on you. And yes. I think it's time for you to go. Thank you for your son as well for giving you permission to do this live every single Tuesday. I know it's a lot of time you invest in this, and thank you all, guys.
Thank you for joining us tonight as well.
This is going to be on the YouTube, so I will create one special playlist, so you will be able to see from week 1 until today, week 9. So there, because this content you can watch over and over and over again.
And hopefully you get different things every time you watch it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I've had so much fun doing this series with you, Ed. Thank you so much for inviting me, for giving me the opportunity. And, for those of you who have been here once, twice, all 8 times, thank you so much. Your presence makes all the difference. And while this is the last session of the series, stay tuned. Ed and I could come back in a totally different form. Who knows, but be open to surprises. We will try.
We can brainstorm what is the next. We don't promise anything. However, I promise this 8 episode I will put on the YouTube, and then you can watch as whenever you want. You have access, and that's a gift from you, Joanne. And thank you all. Have a great Tuesday evening.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Take
everyone.
Care.
See you
Bye.
soon.
Stay healthy.